All right, free radicals, welcome back. My name is Dave, and I am the radical independent. I am the last man standing. Let's just be honest. Yeah, there are some other people who are covering Tulsi Gabbard in a positive way, but many of them have shifted over to, do you know that Joe Biden is in cognitive decline? Now, I almost feel bad for crazy Uncle Joe a little bit, because carrying the world on his shoulders and not being able to think on your feet, that's going to be really a tough battle for him. And I'm thinking whoever he picks for VP is going to be really important. And no, I'm not suggesting he picks Tulsi Gabbard as his VP, because then we're going to think to ourselves, well, Tulsi really compromised her principles. However, if something happened, which it could, by the way, happen to either Crazy Uncle Joe or Heart Attack Bernie, the guy who's screaming and yelling still, and all of his supporters who are 19 and furious because ever since they, came out of the womb, they've been taught that life is really bad and they have to rebel against the system, even though they're probably all well pampered and taken care of. Now, the people who are in certain places, rural America, the people who have truly been left behind, all right, who don't probably even watch YouTube and so forth, those people could have had a champion rather than someone who just screams and yells and who alienates people by screaming and yelling. And you're thinking, Dave, but Bernie's right on a lot of issues. Okay, all right. But again, I have railed against this approach from day one. That's why I kept saying, well, Tulsi does this with kindness. Look at her. Just look at her motions, her facial expressions. The sound is off here, and it's off for a reason, because I want you to focus on her, not me, okay? She addresses concerns with the type of good cheer and aloha spirit that, quite honestly, is completely missing in all of our politics, both on the left and on the right. But I will say this about the right. I think the right has more people over on that side who don't come off as lunatics. Okay? And I say that just because I've had experience on both sides. I'm not saying they got better ideas. I'm just saying they don't come off as unhinged crazies. And after a while, people are going to recoil. Hence, the Biden surge, because okay, I get it. The progressives, they've all switched over. Okay, I'm going to tell my little progressive audience one more time about how bad Joe Biden is. That's going to move the needle. That's going to work, because your audience, you already had your Bernie audience when you started your channel. So this is what they call what? Preaching to the choir? Just saying, hey, Joe is completely off his rocker. Well, thanks for that. Again, that cutting edge presentation from super progressives, okay? Here's the thing. Why don't you sell... you can't sell... Here's the problem. You can't sell that Bernie is the more likable guy. You can't do it. Oh, but gee, do we want a likable guy? Trump wasn't likable and he got elected. True, but I think Donald Trump is likable enough because he says things that are... He makes himself laugh when he's up there with some of the crap he says. I mean, he'll crack himself up. I mean, I've seen him at these rallies, and it's like a big party. Everybody shows up. They got their MAGA hats on. They're all happy. This is different from the Bernie rally. The Bernie rally is, we're so mad. And most Americans aren't so mad. They're frustrated. They wish things could be better. And there are a lot of people right now that this economy isn't working for. And this is why Tulsi would have been such a better choice. And she still is, by the way, because she's still running for president. Okay? I know I had a guy on Twitter yesterday called Tulsi Gabbard a cockroach. And I don't use four-letter words too much, although lately some of them, at least on Twitter, have been coming out. And I basically said, who the bleep is this guy? I just retweeted it. She's a cockroach? And the entire DNC establishment aren't cockroaches? Like millions of them? Like an infestation? Come on. I mean, this is where we're at right now. And, it's hard to be enthusiastic about anything right now in politics. There's a lot of talk about a movement, and I'm gonna try to link what's happening to the future. Because, look, Tulsi Gabbard, if both Biden and Sanders remain above ground up until the convention, okay? And I know that's kind of a mean and horrible thing to say, but so long as they're breathing and they're able to function, nobody has a heart attack, nobody falls off a stage and collapses and breaks a hip, because either one of them, the hip could get broken. I don't know anybody. I don't know if Biden or Bernie has done any surfing lately or snowboarding. Much of these activities, by the way, would be really hard for me to do as well. So I'm just saying, these guys are running for president. You're the leader of the free world. All right. So you kind of want to be in good physical shape. Same thing went for Hillary. See, the Democrats, they keep picking old and frail. All right. And there are people in their 70s and 80s who are in good shape. Dr. Ron Paul, to me, I know he's in his 80s now, and he's as sharp as a tack, and I think he could probably give Bernie and Biden a run for their money as far as endurance and so forth. But, he's another guy that they just kind of blacked out. We don't want to hear about peace. See, peace to me would be the most progressive thing. Of all these other issues, Medicare for all, minimum wage, those are financial things. Those are giveaways. They are giveaways. They're giving people money who need it, or services, or healthcare, which is a service, whatever. They're giving stuff away. And you can't give stuff away if you don't have the resources to allocate for those people, because you're spending $1 trillion a year on an endless war. And that's where Tulsi Gabbard comes in. Now, as far as the movement goes, say those guys, again, remain above ground, and I'm just spoke in a circle here. I apologize for that. They remain above ground up until the convention. And life is good. And they're not hospitalized either. I got to be specific, because if this does come true, then they're going to say, well, they're still alive, but they're still campaigning, or clearly they can't string a sentence together. And Tulsi's still out there. And Tulsi is still out there. And somebody has to quit because they can't continue with the campaign. Well, Tulsi is there to basically save the day. Now, but if, they make it to the convention and they have the convention and Bernie loses to Biden, which is definitely going to happen. Bernie gets a speech and then he's going to tell everybody, we got to get behind Joe. My good friend Joe Biden, I've known for 50 years. He's a great politician, a great man. He's a lot like me, and he's very progressive, Joe Biden. You just don't know him like I do. That's funny, Bernie. Say that all goes down, and Tulsi is still kind of on the outside looking in. Well, a lot of us aren't going away. We'll write in Tulsi Gabbard. Some of us might look at a third-party candidate in either the Libertarian or Green Party. I don't know who. That's a possibility. But more importantly, a movement has begun of Americans that don't want the Bernie approach. We don't want the Biden approach, that's for sure, because that's neoliberalism. And we're turned off because Trump is really not good for our national discourse and just the representation of what he represents for our country. All right? But a lot of people might go back to vote for Donald Trump. Let's just be honest here. If there's no Tulsi as a great alternative, then a lot of people are going to say, screw it. These two guys, Trump is probably not going to keel over. He's younger. He's like 6 years younger than these guys. And his schedule is crazy. And no, he's not in good physical condition. But he seems to defy all that. And I don't care what substance allegedly he's been consuming. The guy runs circles. He did it in the Republican primary as well. But you don't care, right? Because even though he's got all this endurance, you don't care. You just wish that, he was filled with the same kind of good cheer and all that stuff. He's a different kind of candidate. He's part of what the angry right wanted. And some on the angry left did join in because they wanted to blow up the system. And the angry left would never be satisfied with conservative judges and some of the things that Trump has done. So again, you got nowhere else to go. With Tulsi, you had somebody who could have been the best of all worlds and still can be if something happens. And then down the road, when the bleep show happens and Trump gets reelected, because that's probably what's going to happen, then, man, oh man, are we in a place not only to say we told you so, but we can launch, and it stinks that we're going to have to wait more, because nobody wants to wait. Everybody wants this to happen now. But we've got to get busy. We can't do what they did in 2017. There needs to be some kind of alternative party where we can go, and Tulsi Gabbard can be basically the leader. Somebody who can launch that and start running immediately. As soon as that election is over, hey, I'm declaring that I'm going to be a candidate in 2024 in this great new party, okay, or whatever. I mean, we've got to start now. It can't wait. And there are, like I say, there are real possibilities that either of these two men could really falter. And I'm talking physically and health-wise. Now, again, if it doesn't occur, we still build momentum for the future. And meanwhile, all the other progressives are going to be talking about Joe Biden's declining health. And is that a real thing? Sure, it's a real thing, but it doesn't fix your problem. Your problem is your candidate, the one you're propping up, Bernie Sanders, is so flawed that a guy who doesn't have all of his faculties is beating the crap out of him right now. Oh, well, it's a conspiracy. No, it's not, because people, they're going, this guy, I'll just go with Biden. At least I know what I'm getting with Biden. And yeah, maybe he's a little slow upstairs, but, hopefully he'll pick a VP who's got their act together, and we'll just do that, because, who's Bernie going to pick as a VP? He loses no matter who he picks. If he picks another ultra-progressive, people are going to say, oh, gee, they're both crazy. Or if he goes neoliberal, then he's compromised and he's not really a progressive, which, again, I don't think he really is that progressive on a lot of things. He's not that progressive on the military-industrial complex. I think a lot of his proposals are pie in the sky and need to be reworked, where people will vote for them, because you're going to need some Republicans to come in. You're going to need some votes where you probably wouldn't get votes if you're just slamming through giant proposals, much like what happened with Obamacare. And that, again, that divided the country. You need some bipartisan support and the good cheer that Tulsi brings to this. And that's exactly why Tulsi Gabbard would be the best candidate to beat Donald Trump. And nobody seems to care. The other thing they don't seem to care about is that Tulsi Gabbard happens to be a woman. This is the only woman running for president who isn't actually a woman, according to the media and the progressives, okay? Tulsi? Now, who? Is she still running? Come on, what's she doing? Just get out and endorse Bernie. Tulsi Gabbard better not endorse. Well, here's what I'm going to say. Tulsi Gabbard, I don't think, is getting out of the race. And Bernie, she's not going to have to worry about this, because Bernie is going to be so far behind that there's going to be nothing to endorse. If she endorses Bernie, right, and Bernie's got like half the delegates that Joe Biden has, or Biden has an insurmountable lead on Bernie, an endorsement would be silly at that point. And she's already endorsed Bernie once and paid the price politically to do it. So there's no need. She's not going to have to do that again. And I don't think she should. Her spirit, her kind of aloha spirit, because Bernie was called out as a Russian asset and so forth, that might play into it, where she just wants to kind of, give the media and the establishment the middle finger again, the DNC as well. The DNC is all coalescing around Biden. So she might still be thinking in those terms. But, I think Bernie is going to be in such rough shape that an endorsement for him won't make much of a difference. She can still say, I was the better person, I did the right thing, whereas Bernie hardly ever, one time, it's the only time I gave to that guy's campaign, one time where he did stick up for Tulsi when Hillary was calling Tulsi a Russian asset, but it was a very mild sort of statement. Well, we can disagree on issues, but we know that Tulsi Gabbard, she's not a Russian agent. Okay, let's get on with the campaign. Not me, us. Not us, me. It's not us, it's me. And really, the people that are looking at Bernie's candidacy, those aren't people that are service above self. They're not. It's really about them. It's really about them. And with Tulsi, it's about what she is trying to do for the country. And she encourages behavior that is far different from what Bernie Sanders talks about. Bernie wants to try to squeeze the system to change and fix things. Tulsi wants to do a little bit of both. She wants to squeeze the system, but she knows collectively we're all going to have to work together. And to have a campaign platform or a slogan, service before self, that calls on our higher, better angels to do good things. And most burners, that's a different breed of people. Most. There are some really nice people that support Bernie Sanders that have followed me on Twitter for quite some time, and I can converse with them, and they kind of leave me alone when I go on my rants against Bernie and so forth. But overall, you've got an angry mob. The perception is it's an angry mob, and rather than talk about how great their candidate is right now, they've gone into full Joe Biden is whatever mode and has cognitive dissonance and blah, blah, blah. And whereas nobody seems to talk about Bernie Sanders, his age, his health, his demeanor, and how that's going to play on the national stage if it were to be Bernie against Trump. Both sides over there, too. It's, I can beat Trump. No, Biden, I can beat Trump. Well, there's a good chance that Trump's going to beat you both. It's a really good chance. See, if Tulsi were in there and Tulsi was the nominee, Trump, how do you deal with Tulsi Gabbard as the nominee? She would just be on fire. And just her showing up and articulating things, she would bring so many people together. Light bulbs would go off. People would go like, whoa, that's a different kind of politician. Where's she been? Well, she's been hidden from you for most of the campaign cycle. Couple of debates she got into, but other than that, they've hidden her. She qualified for the next debate, and of course they changed the rules so she won't be there. It's too uncomfortable to hear somebody who could bring the country together. It's too it goes against what the media needs to feed the beast every day. Okay, to have a uniter, to have somebody who's truly aloha, who's younger, who would be just a great, I've said this early on, what a role model Tulsi Gabbard would be for the young children of this country, teenagers, and those that are thinking of getting into service of some kind, whether it be in their community or whether it be running for office or whatever. That's my inspiration. I would say, look at President Gabbard. Now that's a president. That's somebody we can be proud of. And imagine having Tulsi Gabbard in the Oval Office instead of Donald Trump. I mean, think of that. It'd just be an insane upgrade. Character and just the good cheer and the love that she truly spreads and the empathy. Trump does zero in the empathy department. It's one thing Obama did pretty well. Trump can't do it. Clinton used to do it well. Bush, warmonger. Can't really talk about him at all. They're all part of it, though, so it's kind of just a moot point. In any event, the movement will not stop. It will not stop. Either we've got President Gabbard coming your way, or we've got the Gabbard movement, which is going to be bigger than either political party once people figure out that they've been bamboozled again. And of course, it's happening in slow motion. And yes, people aren't very smart, including most of the progressive media, because they're just going along with it. They're basically just finding a new narrative, which is, Biden is cognitively unable to perform his duties. Okay, and your guy is still losing to him. So what's your solution? Huh? They got nothing. All right, I'm done. I've spoke my piece here. It's the movement that ain't going away. And I know some people have called Tulsi Gabbard a cockroach when they're They should be looking right in the mirror because that's where the cockroach is. All right, please support this channel, okay? Hit the bell for notifications. PayPal, davidjspuria@gmx.com. I want to thank my friend Dennis again, who chipped in, and just there's like 4 or 5 people that are floating this channel, which is pretty amazing. That's how passionate they are for Tulsi Gabbard. You can do a one-time PayPal donation over there of any amount. I've been giving some of these contributions back to Tulsi, just so you know where some of that money's been going, to pay some of my bills, because again, I'm making about $10 a day on the channel. So yeah, every dollar helps me continue and makes me want to do this, and I'm going to keep doing it for the foreseeable future. So thanks again for supporting the Radical Independent. And I'm going to have a special conversation with my friend Charles tomorrow, the Vigilant Independent, and I'll be uploading that content most likely over to Rockfin. So you'll be able to see that, like 90 minutes worth of 2 crazy independents going head to head, talking about how we're feeling right now about this political landscape. All right, see you soon, folks.